welcome. What makes that 13, 14, 15 section so tricky?
Yeah, that section in particular is it's a unique section to this track only. You don't see anything quite like that around the rest of the world. So it's 3 left-hand corners successively, but they get smaller as they go down. So 13 is obviously big to the left, but it's got a big radius, so there's pressure on it to keep you on the curve. But then 14 and then 15 are just slight radiuses, kind of tilted more so than a curve. So if you don't take the right line through them, you can really find your right runner popping up onto them, and they'll flip you quick.
Yeah, so what do you have to do? How do you have to navigate that?
You just have to make sure your 13's pretty spot on. You have to find the line that's going to allow you to come out with the straightest line possible so that you don't find yourself riding too fast up onto the radiuses of 14, 15, because it's when you take that direction onto the radius without the curve and pressure to hold onto that wants to flip you.
How many training runs have you had before this? Just that one bit?
We've had 6 runs from the top, 2 runs from women's start for this week, and then in November we had probably 30 to 40 runs prior to the World Cup test event.
Okay. Is this a harder section than like normal to figure out?
Every track has a difficult section typically. That's definitely one of the more difficult sections of this track. But difficult sections aren't unique to the sport. It's what's difficult for us this time around is we have less training than usual here. Typically we'll see the track 2 to 3 times prior to the games, but that was canceled due to COVID this year, so we've only seen it 1 time prior to this game. Yeah, so it's difficult coming in that we have less training due to the pandemic. You see experience really shining through here. Some of the more experienced guys are putting down the better runs.
Do you know what they call that section?
I don't know.
Okay.
13, 14, 15.
Apparently the sheep. So, John Morgan, the bobsled.
Yeah.
So he sent me this picture.
Okay.
So it's apparently named after, there were like sheep here at one point.
Okay. Did they name that or did he name that?
They named it.
Okay.
He probably did.
They could pick like a less intimidating name for like the hardest section.
I like sheep. That's fun. I mean, there's a lot of difficult sections that have intimidating names. You have the Devil's Highway or the Devil's Mill, but sheep sounds a little bit more cuddly, so that's more approachable.
Where are those? The Devil's Highway?
Devil's Highway is in Lake Placid, and the Devil's Mill, they call it Teufelsmüller. That's in Königsee, Germany.
How do you describe the level of respect that guys here have for Matthias Supplements?
Oh, everyone has a huge level of respect. In St. Moritz, which was the World Cup prior to this, when he came down on his Nations Cup run, which was his first competitive run back onto the circuit, the athletes were there and gave him a round of standing applause as he came through. So, I mean, his mental fortitude is immensely strong. I mean, to come back on a track that quite nearly put him out for the rest of his life, take the runs and take them with confidence, it's very impressive.
All the athletes were there? Like all the sliders were waiting?
The sliders that were at the race, yeah.
How many do you reckon were there?
20 probably. Yeah, 20 to 30. It was
What do you think that says about him?
I mean, it's very brave of him to come back like.
No curve combination like that anywhere else. So it's a curve that requires experience going through it, and it's different than the fall, for sure. You're also really pushing it in the Olympics, like the ice is hard right now, and so when you don't, it also drops away. So think about like when you're driving kind of in a car and you go over like a hill, you get that weightless feeling. It's kind of what we're experiencing. Our runners are metal. The ice is really hard right now, like marble. So if you're going over that hump and your sled's turning, you've got nothing to steer with. And then if you ride up on the end, like top, you can come down, you can crash, you can get tossed off your sled like I did yesterday. I flew up to the woods and landed on my head. Like I'm actually really lucky to be racing today. Like it was bad.
At that spot?
Yeah. I'll post the video again. It's it was wild.
Pretty gnarly.
It was gnarly. It was and I think that I don't want to say that it got to me today, but I definitely was pulling my left handle over that hump to protect from riding on the wall, and it just threw me into a skid. But that skid saves you, it prevents you from doing that, but I lose a lot of time that way. So tomorrow I've just got to commit to that exit, not be scared to go all out, because that's what we're doing. We're racing to go all out, and unfortunately I made some big mistakes down there today. It wasn't mistakes, it was me just kind of being hesitant and safe.
Seems like you're far from the only one though. Like a lot of guys having trouble with that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tricky spot, but Yeah, we can get that tomorrow. We can get that tomorrow. And yeah, should be fun.
You know what they call that?
Exit 13 for us, really. Out of 13, you know, there's like a couple curves in there, but it's the kind of the lean. You know, the curves are leaning right there. So yeah, it's hard. It's tricky. There's nothing else like it. You're losing pressure. Ice is hard. The Olympics, I'm going for it. So my sled's out of control. It's pretty. Imagine having like I feel like I'm on ball bearings. It's so I'm floating. So I have to in the curves. I have tons of pressure because we're pulling 3 Gs. And straightaways, I've got nothing. So I've got to point it straight and just if I make a mistake in the curve, I'm screwed.
Here's what they were going for, apparently.
The sheep's back.
Yeah.
Sheep's back. All right. Sheep. Down there, the sheep.
Intimidating.
Listen, let's call Lane.